Good morning. Okay, last week we were talking about 3 models to organize our sales force. One of these organizational structure was named by, or is named by, generalist structure. The second was the product specialization model. The third was customer specialization model. Today, inshallah, we are going to review and discuss the final model. This final model, it is called the functional specialization model. Now listen, the functional specialization model, it is coming from the word function. It is coming from the word function. When we are referring to the function, we are referring mainly to the nature of the activities and the tasks which will be performed by the sales force. So once again, the functional model, it is founded on the word which is called function. A function, if we would like to analyze this word, we are going to refer to the tasks and activities which each salesperson must do while performing his or her work in the sales team. Now, the fourth model, which is called the functional model, it comes to be performed and implemented in the sales science because of one of the most important changes which happened in the human life, which is firms began to be more complex, began to be more complicated. Also, they began to adopt something called mass production. Mass production. This mass production, we are talking about its huge size. We are talking about its own complexity. Also, we are talking about a third thing, which is called diversity. Diversity, as you know, we are referring to the word difference. Thank you. The word difference. Now, because of the technology, because of the information technology, firms and companies began to adopt something called mass production. This mass production, it was very huge. Also, it was very complex. And finally, it was very diverse and different. Somebody is going to wonder, so what? So what? We are going to talk about different thing, which is all these things motivated or pushed the human beings to enrich their own skills and to enrich their own knowledge. In other words, if we are going to talk about a sales force or a sales staff member, we could not bear the fact that we are going to hire one salesperson who is going to understand or carry all this big size and different levels of skills and knowledge about the products and the goods which organizations are selling. So they said, why we shouldn't divide the tasks and the responsibilities and divide the skills and the knowledge? Well, let's hire each person according to the nature of the function which he or she should do. So later on, they began saying, any sales staff member, we are going to find sales staff member who will understand something called or related to accounting. Others are specialized in training. A third in investment. A fourth in consultation. A fifth in engineering. And so on. So if you are going to look at these words, you are going to say that they are, or they could be summarized by one word, which is the nature of the function. In other words, the functional specialization structure is saying if a person under the sales staff member is specialized in accounting, this person, we cannot transfer him to do the consultation work within the team. The vice versa is correct. Why? his brain is mastering the skills and the knowledge which is relating to the function of accounting. The same thing here. The same thing here. So according to the functional specialization structure, substitution isn't an easy task. Substitution isn't an easy task. So let's summarize what we said. So the functional specialization, it focuses on the activities of the function performed by customer contact people. Now, the product and the market heterogeneity, diversity, difference, and complexity may require a diverse set of skills and knowledge used for large global organization. So what we can conclude here, we can conclude that the nature of the production, it changed. We began talking about mass production. We began talking about massive skills, massive knowledge. With this massive skills and massive knowledge cannot be absorbed by one brain. So we need what? We need specialized salespersons who will master one function. Who will master one function. Well, this is reminding us with what we studied in Business Essential number 1, division of work and the specialization. So all these things are related to the functional specialization structure. Go on. Let's give example for the organizational structure. Now, if you are going to look at this example, we are going to see the following. This is an example for a functional specialization model. At the top, we are talking about the division marketing manager. In the second lower level, we are talking about industry sales manager, where we are talking about the system manager. Over there, we are talking about administrative manager. Look at here. The function here is related to the industry. The function here is related to the system. The function here it is related to administration. Later on, these things also, they are subdivided according to more specific functions. So in this industry, we began talking about account executives, which means salespersons. They are the salespersons who are going to interact with the customers. But later on here, we are talking about what? People who are mastering or functioning or working in the technical support team. Over there, we are talking about training and installations. So the distribution and the organization of the structure, it is founded on the function which the salesperson is performing. So if the person is working in the field of training or installation, we cannot transfer him or her to work as a salesperson. The person who is working as a salesperson cannot transfer to do or to provide technical support. Well, they cannot do that. Why? This is the skill and the knowledge which they are understanding. This is their own business. This is their own function. This is their nature of work. Because of this, as we said before, substitution isn't an easy according to the ideology of the functional specialization structure. Clear? Go on. Let's sum up the advantages and the disadvantages of this model. Now, look at here. We are going to talk about two major advantages. Number one, more functional focus. As we said, so it is founded, it is focused on the function or the activity which this salesperson is doing. If this is an advantage, it will lead to another advantage, which means they will be able to diagnose a problem easily and to solve it easily. Because of this, we are talking about a second advantage, which is it gives us the ability to provide a problem solution. Because each person is mastering the function which he or she is doing. So in this case, any problem which they are going to encounter while they are selling, it is easy to be diagnosed, or it is easy to be solved. But on the other hand, we are talking about disadvantages also. The biggest disadvantage is the following. It may conflict with the personal staff members who are working in marketing. Somebody is going to say, how? Look at here. If we are going to organize our sales force according to the functional model, we said One of the functions might be, for example, training. In other words, we are referring to the salespersons who are training the customers how to perform or deal with an instrument or good or product. If you are going to think of this training item, it might be done by another personnel who's working in the marketing department. With this here, we are talking about what? Sales department. So we are talking about something called duplications. Which means the training part, it is done or performed by the people who are working in the sales department, founded or structured on functional model. With the same task, it is done by a personal staff member who are working in marketing department. But is this a duplication? Yes. It is a waste of resources? Yes. It is a waste of time? Yes. It is a waste of cost? Yes. Because of this is considered to be one of the disadvantages. A second thing which is more expensive. Somebody is going to say, why it is more expensive? Simply because the senior management of the sales organization, they are paying for brains. They are paying for skills. They are paying for knowledge. So if the knowledge of this salesperson is going to be missed, how it is going to be missed? The sales staff member decided to retire or decided to resign. So how we are going to substitute him or her? It isn't an easy. Why? We cannot just simply transfer one person working in another function and tell him or her, Wallah, please come and we are going to place you in this function. Is he going to do the work? We are not expecting this to happen easily. So what we are going to do? We are going to hire for a new staff member who are having similar technical knowledge and skill. But is this a very time consuming? Of course. Every day which is going to pass and the firm doesn't have the suitable person, this is considered to be what? A lost. Later on, if you are going to hunt down a qualified person, this person might reject your offer, asking for a higher level of compensation. But in this case, do you think the senior management is going to yield to the willing of this person? Yes. What's the meaning of yield? تخضع. Of course. Okay? Because of this we are saying more expensive. These are the two disadvantages. Any question, any comments about the functional structure model? Now, look at here. Let's give realistic examples. Over here, we are talking about functional specialization. Look at the alternatives which are experimented by different firms. Over here, we are listing some of the American companies. One of them is called American Express. With this American company, it is specialized in shipment. Letters, envelopes, shipments, and so on. The American Express, along with Gillette, which is responsible for producing the shaving equipment, they are saying, we are not going to hire any salespersons except those who are able to attract new customers. Somebody is going to say, so the function of this salesperson is to hire or to hunt a new customer. Is this right? It's right. Let's go on in this sentence, analyze its meaning. What does it mean? It means persons who are able to catch the heart and the brains and the eyes of people who are going to meet them for the first times. Well, this is the secret for hiring or recruiting new customers. How? They will say, let's look at the character of our sales people. Well, let's see how they are approaching new people. If they are able to leave a good impression for them, then this is the answer, or this is the right staff member whom we should hire. If they are not, this means we cannot hire them as salesperson. So the function of this salesperson, according to the American Express and Gillette, is to attract customers by your face, your words, and your method of communication. Over there, we are talking about a Browning Ferris Industries. They are saying, we are not able or we do not care about new customers. They are saying, our salespersons, they must be able to retain our customers. How? Again, by different techniques of communication and assistance and coordination. Well, this is considered to be the key for our own profitability. Other firms, they are saying, like Lexmark International, they are saying, we do not care about the new customers, and we do not take care or care about the functions of the salesperson for retaining our customers. We are looking for customers who are going to do one simple function, which is to satisfy the end users of our product. Their function is to satisfy the end users of our product. This is the key of our sales and profitability. But other firms like 3M and AT&T, it is considered to be the first American ground telecommunication in America. Its age is more than 100 years. Its age is more than 1 century. It is the first American company which began providing American citizens, families, and companies with ground telecommunication lines. The people over there, they will say, if we would like to hire salespersons, we do not consider any salespersons to do anything except one thing, which is this salesperson must be engineer. If they are engineer, they are going to succeed in achieving our own profitability and our own sales. If their function is then to do as an engineer, we cannot hire them. The same thing here with IBM, which is manufacturing computers, as you know, and Mixon Corporation. They are saying we cannot hire any salesperson unless he or she is able to provide something called service consultation. If they are able to provide these things, then we can hire them to be salesperson. So look at here. What we can conclude from this example? We can conclude one simple thing. First, this is going to be in the exam. There isn't something called one best method approach of sales. Second, we are talking about individual differences among firms and companies. We were talking about individual differences among human beings. The same thing, likewise, is applicable on the firms. We are talking about individual differences among firms. So, this fact of individual differences is forcing the firms to adopt different approaches of sales and different approaches of organizational structures. So the organizational structure which is applicable in that firm, it doesn't necessarily mean it is going to be succeed in our firm, and so on. So, what is our conclusion? Our conclusion is summarized here. There is no one best way to organize our sales force. But why? Because we are talking about individual differences among firms and companies. Firms and companies are not looking like each other. They are different. They are different in so many things. So, companies are experimenting with many different forms in order to compete to profitability. If this is the case, then a company should start by examining its customers and looking at its organizational form, the customer's perspective. Each firm must answer or address one issue, which is who are our customers. Well, after that, we can think about building a suitable organizational structure. But this is considered to be what? The first step in building OS, organizational structure. Move on. Now we finished the 4 models of the organizational structures. We talked about the generalist, we talked about the product specialization, we talked about the customer specialization, after a while or before a while, we talked about the functional structure. Now we are going to talk about the second part of this chapter. With this second part, we will talk about strategic account management program. Look at here. Now listen. If we are going to talk about organizational structure, for a while, what did we say? We said technology changed the nature of the industry. Firms began to believe in something called mass production. Mass production led to diverse and complex goods and products. All these things began saying, if we would like to organize our sales staff member should be divided into two branches. Salespersons who are going to work in something called regular sales department. Second one, which is called strategic department. A regular means it is a department which is going to pay attention and handling all the affairs and the matters of regular customers, ordinary customers. On the other hand, the strategic, it is going to refer to the department and the salespersons who are going to deal and satisfy and retain the most strategic customers. VIP. Somebody is going to say, why companies began to think in this way? Because they concluded one fact, which is the number or the size of the customer doesn't always refer to the level of sales and to the level of profitability. How? Look at here. In the regular, they are saying, imagine we are going to have 100 customers. Each customer is going to buy an item. The cost of this item is $1. So the total sales is going to be 100. In the strategic, we are going to talk about one customer who is going to buy an item. The cost of this item is $1,000. So the total cost of sales or the total sales is going to be $1,000. But look at the customers here and look at the customers over there. So they began saying, we should not give a priority always for the number of the customers, but we should look for the quality of the customers. When we are saying the quality of the customer, either he or she is strategic or non-strategic. Okay? Now, listen here. We didn't finish. The companies asked themselves another question. They said, if we would like to succeed in managing a strategic account management program, we need further requirements. Well, the strongest requirements is, read this question. How to select the customer. The mechanism of the selection of the customer. Somebody is going to wonder why. Look at here. If the selection of the customer, either he or she is a regular or strategic, wasn't done in a very intelligent and smart way, we are going to have a very bad, dangerous results on the performance of sales agency. How? Look at here. The wrong selection might lead to increased number of customers. The increased number of the customers who are classified to be strategic, but in fact they are not strategic, is going to lead to increased pressure of work. The increased pressure of work over the staff member who are working in the strategic department is going to lead by the end to lower level of service. Why? We cannot satisfy every strategic account because of their big and huge number. This might lead, as Hanin said, might push the management to increase what? The cost. By hiring extra staff members. Because of this, what we are saying, selection is very important. We must select the right customer to be a realistic strategic account. Or if your selection is wrong, the results and the consequences are going to be devastating. Not only devastating, destructive. Clear? Let's summarize this. Now, this is summarized here. Look, regardless of whether the sales force consists of specialists or generalists, one of the most significant changes now occurring in marketing is that many organizations are finding it necessary to develop a strategic account management program in addition to their regular sales force. Because of this, what did we say? Strategic and gone. The strategic account management program is more than a selling strategy. We are not only making a work which is called selling, but it is a marketing philosophy, which means it is directed at select group of customers that account for disproportionately large share of sellers' total revenues. Well, this is the meaning of what? One customer, 100 customer. But over there, the sales volume or the profitability is less than here, even though the number of the customer is greater. So, to succeed, this is a typo. To succeed, not to success. So to succeed in managing a new strategic account, you should address two issues, which are account selection, second, OS, organization structure. Now, let's conclude the class by discussing the first item, which is selection. Well, let's go on. Now, this slide also, it is summarizing what we said regarding the different or the devastating results which might happen because of the wrong mechanism of selection. A strategic account selection, which customer should be treated as a strategic account? Many companies choose too many accounts to participate in the program. To participate معناه to include them to be strategic, but in fact they are not strategic. Leading to an overwork for sales force. Well, this is what? The pressure of work. And underserved customer, which means lower level of service. Even though we are talking about what? Strategic department. Because of the increased number of customers. Gone. So there is a tendency to focus on a customer size because a few portion of the largest customers are representing big portion of company sales. And losing one of those customers is a disaster. Because each customer is a fortune. Doesn't it fortune? Exactly. ثروة. Okay? Now, on the other hand, size isn't a good indicator. Remember this. This is very important. Size is not a good indicator that a customer wants this special type of relationship. So size, as we said, isn't always a healthy, correct indicator for the sales volume and for the sales profitability. Any question, any comments about this class? Type. Let's conclude by this. If this is the case, then let's talk about the differences between the regular department and the strategic department under the ceiling, which is called OS, organization structure. How they are thinking, how they are behaving. When we are saying a previous approach, we are referring to the ordinary or regular department. So this is the regular. Well, this is what? The strategic. We would like to compare and contrast among the two regarding three items. Item number 1, business plan duration. Item number 2, the structure of the business plan. Item number 3, who are involved, who are the staff members who are responsible for performing the work. Which means personnel involvement. In the regular, their work will be done according to a business plan whose duration is between 3 up to 6 months. But in the strategic, we are talking about what? Years rather than months. Another difference, the structure of the business plan here, they are adopting and working according to tactics. Tactical plan, operational plan, short term, daily or weekly. But over there, we are making our work according to strategic plans. Because the strategic plans, they are going to be the path for achieving two things: growth and profitability. The third and the final difference between the two approaches, for the personnel, we are talking about ordinary sales representatives. Reps, it means representatives. Sales representatives who are going to be responsible for finalizing everything related to sales. But in the strategic, the situation is different. Exactly, Fatma. We are talking about senior management from both companies. When we are saying both companies, the seller and the buyer. So the senior management are going to finalize all the transactions which are related to strategic accounts, rather than ordinary sales persons or representatives. So are they different in the duration and in the structure and in the personnel?
Yes.
Yes, they are different. Any question or comments about this? Okay, next time we will go on with chapter number 6. See you.